been asked to do a fecal calprotectin test using the new IBDoc home test on your smartphone. The IBDoc kit needs to be stored in the fridge until you're ready to use it. It's completely sealed and doesn't contain anything toxic. All the usual rules apply when collecting the sample. Ideally, the first stool of the day is required, as this is likely to contain the highest levels of calprotectin, as this sample has been in your system overnight. Do not let the stool come into contact with the toilet water, as this contains bleach and disinfectants and will impact the test. Don't get urine in the sample, especially if your stool is liquid, as this will effectively dilute the concentration of any calprotectin that is present. When you are ready to do a test, remove the kit from the fridge. It contains everything you need to complete a single test. Once the kit has been opened, keep the components at room temperature until you are ready to use them, but make sure they are not near any direct sources of heat. There are 2 papers which can be attached to the toilet seat to help collect the sample and can be flushed once finished, or you can collect the sample in any way that you're comfortable, just so long as it is clean and not contaminated with urine or toilet water. There is one CALEX valve device which is sealed in a foil pouch, which is for extracting the calprotectin from the stool ready for analysis. There is one sealed test cassette, and this needs to remain closed until you're ready to use it. There is a card which is used to test the camera and as a background for the reading of the cassette, and a quick pictorial guide, although if you need it, full instructions can be obtained from the website. Remove the CALEX valve extraction device from the foil pouch labelled CALEX. Use the small slits in the side of the pouch to assist with opening. Carefully open the collection paper by peeling from the corners. Attach the paper towards the back of the toilet seat using the adhesive strips on the sides of the paper. Once you have collected the sample, remove the white cap from the CALEX valve and dip the sample pin into the stool 3 to 5 times, giving a small twist before removing. You need to sample from multiple places because the calprotectin isn't evenly spread throughout the stool, so if you only put the sample pin into the stool once, you could miss it. The grooves on the end of the sampling pin need to be fully covered with stool before you put the sampling pin back into the buffer. It's better to overload the sampling pin than underload it. Any excess will be scraped off by the funnel inside the CALEX tube, so that only a designated amount will be available for the test. Once you have put the pin back into the CALEX tube, push the white cap down. You will hear 2 audible clicks. Keep the CALEX in an upright position so the buffer is covering the end of the pin. Do not put the CALEX above a radiator or in direct sunlight. It is probably simplest if the stool and the CALEX are processed in the morning and then left until the evening, when you will have more time to continue the rest of the test. After a minimum of 2 hours, check that all the stool has come off the grooves of the sampling pin. If it hasn't, give the CALEX a shake and leave to stand for a bit longer. Log into the app before you proceed with the test further. If you have forgotten your password, it will need to be reset, and this may take too long and the test ruined if you have already applied the sample to it. Once you have logged in, you may be asked to do a camera test. Overlay the yellow outline on the phone over the vertical stripes in the camera test card. The image should take automatically, and a message will appear to say that the test has passed. The test cassette is contained in the foil pouch labelled QB Calprotectin. Only open this when you are ready to do the test, as moisture in the atmosphere will influence the result if this is open for more than 3 hours. Again, there are 2 small slits at one end of the foil pouch to help with opening. Take the blue cap off the end of the CALEX valve. Put the end of the CALEX valve into the small circular hole at one end of the cassette and move the lever on the CALEX from position 1 to position 2. A small but defined amount of solution will be released from the CALEX valve. It is best to hold the CALEX valve at a slight angle, as this aids the release of the liquid. You also need to continue to hold the CALEX in position until you see a red line appear about halfway along the reaction window. Do not try to shake or squeeze the liquid out of the tube. It is a very small amount of solution and will be drawn out by capillary action if you hold the CALEX in place for long enough. Once the red line appears halfway along the reaction window, you can remove the CALEX and replace the lid. At this point, you start the timer on the app. 2 lines will develop in the reaction window. The line next to the C is a control to ensure that the test has run correctly. The line next to the T is your test. This line will appear faint in low levels of calprotectin and darker with higher levels. It is this colour intensity that the app uses to determine the concentration of calprotectin that is present in your sample. Once the alarm has gone off, place the test cassette on the reverse side of the camera test card. The cassette must be on the blue card provided, as the app uses the contrast between the blue and the white to locate the test correctly. Overlay the yellow outline on the app with the corresponding shape of the test cassette. The image should take fairly quickly, but you may need to tap the screen to get the image to focus. With older phones, this can take a few seconds. As the image becomes ready to take, the 5 circles at the bottom light up green. If the 5 green circles fail to light up, try resting your elbows on the counter surface to ensure the image is held steady while the app tries to focus. Once the cassette has been read, the result appears on the screen along with the date and batch information. Notes can be added by touching into the white middle section, and it is useful for your clinic to put sample consistency information here. For example, if your stool is hard, liquid or blood-stained, as this may influence your results. Once you have finished, press the Save button and the result will be sent to the clinic when there is a Wi-Fi connection. Now that you have finished the test, all the components can be disposed of safely in the bin. The clinic will receive an email to alert them a test has been performed and they will be able to view the result. If you have any problems or questions, please contact the clinic who gave you the IBDoc kit for advice.